Just a brief recording on what was discussed yesterday for those of you who had problem with the network. So I would encourage people to attend live sessions because it's so important. As the presenter usually talks about a lot of things and you might just miss one of the important points. Recording these sometimes may come with difficulties, just like attending live session may become difficult with the network system. However, I would encourage everyone to try their level best. So yesterday we were talking about occupational health and safety, and we began by defining it to just look at what does the OHS entails. And we said this refers to the practices, policies, and procedures that aimed at protecting the healthy, the safety, and the well-being of employers. All right. So it's just a component, okay, that looks at the practices. It sets the policies, and it's also sets the procedures, or rather, it gives guidelines on how best practices or activities, rather, they should be conducted in a workplace to just ensure that everyone returns home healthy, in a safe manner, and also their well-being. And when you talk about occupational health and safety, it doesn't only just talks about the employees, okay, but it looks at anyone who is found in that workplace or in that workspace. So this is the thing that we need to have in mind. So it is, what does it involve? It involves the identifying or identification of hazards and controlling of hazards. Once we identify and we control these hazards, therefore we are preventing illnesses and injuries, as well as just promoting a healthy work environment. So this is the criteria for occupational health and safety. Right. So like I said, the goal of occupational health and safety is to ensure that everyone returns home safe and healthy. Then it is a shared responsibility between the employers, the employees, and other stakeholders. So who are these other stakeholders? Anyone from any other related department or anyone that is related to these practices. All right. So let's talk about the design of a machine. So if I'm an engineer, I'm designing a machine that maybe probably will be manufacturing bread. It is also my responsibility to design something that will ensure the safety of the operator. So it is a shared responsibility. And this is why you find that machines will come with a manuscript on how to go about it. So in as much as you are an occupational health and safety officer, you need to understand the machines, the procedures, and the practices that workers do, or what the institution produces, or what the institution engages into. Could be the services, could be require someone to work on the laptop for longer hours, all those kind of things. You need to come up with a proper identification of these hazards so that as soon as possible mitigation measures can be put in place. So an effective occupational health management will prevent injuries, illnesses, reduce absenteeism and turnover, increase productivity and moral, and it will enhance reputation of the company itself and compliance amongst the employees, as well as support sustainability and social responsibility. So we need to know to say a happy employee is a happy and productive workplace. Right. So like I said, your job is to work together with other departments and professions to create a healthy and safety workplace for everyone. Now, then we went on to look about the components of occupational health and safety. So there are quite a number of these components. However, we'll look at what is or what should be in your occupational health and safety system. Then, so the first component is safety itself. So under safety, you want to make sure that you prevent any accidents or injuries or near misses and injuries, okay, that will relate to a certain work practice. Then the other component is health itself. So at the workplace, it is important to promote physical and mental well-being and preventing work-related illnesses. Remember, health, it is not just the absence of a disease, right? But it encompasses the complete state of physical, mental, psychological, and other aspects. So you want to put in place that workers are not stressed, workers are not being drained physically, so that we avoid causing accidents. Hazard itself, it's a component. So as an occupational health and safety officer, it is very important for us to have qualities or skills in identifying and controlling these hazards. And mind you, these hazards can be physical, chemical, biological, and economic hazard. Then we have risk management. So once we identify these hazards, what next? Okay, we need to come up with a long-term risk management plan. And this risk management plan, it is not a once-off. Okay, it is a system that you need to be reviewing. Hence, it will take us to other components that I'm going to talk about. So we will have trainings. So these trainings we include educating employees on occupational health policies. Tell them to say, according to this policy here, in this company, in this workplace, in these procedures, they require maybe you to do or to wear certain things or to wear certain PPs. It doesn't matter. Could be people are just visitors, could be people are customers, and other people that might come on board. So you want to educate your employees and other stakeholders on the policies, procedures, and best practices, so as no one should get involved or no accident should be, no accident should occur. So what does it entails when you're saying training and education? It is important to train and to educate these people, okay, because our primary goal, it is to prevent injuries and illness related to work. Now, an example could be, even if someone is a machine operator. So when you are hiring someone for the first time, or they are coming on board, whether they have got how many years of experience, it is important, as the company policy or occupational health policy, you orient someone, you tell them. Could be sometimes a system has been updated. It is important to do review, to do maintenance, and also educate for any changes. Okay, you need to let employees know to say changes have been done. Even if it means you just changing the switch, you need to let them know. It is very important. Hence the aspect also of communication. So when you talk about education, we are also talking about the aspect of education. Then we've got the component of policy and procedures. So under policy and procedures, this is where you just want to establish these procedures. You want also to implement the policies. So when you put these policies, there should be enforcement. Okay, remember to enforce. Could be some of these people won't be putting on their PPE. Okay, tell them to say this is according. So do the reinforcement so that every worker should have or should be protected to any hazards. Okay, then the other component is incident reporting and investigation, as this will identify the root cause and prevent the reoccurrence. So it is important to investigate accidents. It is important to report any near misses or any incident. You report it to the management. So this is the responsibility of employees, right? They need to report any incident. Once an incident has been reported, it is the duty of employers to assign people that work in occupational health and safety department, or who are called occupational health officers, okay, to carry out an investigation to find the root cause, so that that kind of things shouldn't repeat itself. Then we've got compliance. So adherence to relevant laws, regulation and standards, it's very important. For example, if the Occupational Health and Safety Act states to say that the maximum, let's say, number, or the maximum level of noise for an employee to be exposed to should be 85 decibels for 8 hours. All right, it's important to comply with that, with these regulations and standards, because those standards will be safer. We're not saying that that kind of standard cannot harm. It can harm them, but at least it has been reduced to minimum levels. All right, at least it has been reduced to the minimum levels. Then workplace culture. So workplace culture, this is about just fostering a culture of safety and healthy, encouraging employees to participate in engagement. So a workplace culture, this is a culture that workers will adopt to say, when we're doing these practices or when we enter these premises, this is what we do, right? For example, you enter a food premise, you enter an abattoir, you need to wash your hands. For example, you need to put on your hairnet. You are working in the mine, and workers will try to adapt to that kind of environment. They will know to say, for every time I'm in this place, I should put on this, or every time I enter this place, I shouldn't eat, I shouldn't do that. So there's what we call the work culture. Then the last component will be improvement. So you do a review, a continuous improvement. So in a continuous improvement, what are you doing? You are regularly checking, reviewing, so that you can improve the occupational health and safety system, the policies and the procedures. Okay, could be that a system has been updated. So this is why I usually say hazard identification and risk management, it's a cycle, it is an ongoing process. So if today you've done an inspection, it is good also tomorrow to do an inspection, or even maybe after some hours you do an investigation. Could be there was an update in a system, or could be the one that you suggested to say, as these are right mitigation, today you can come up with good or better mitigation measures. Okay, so there are ways of finding improvement every time. So it is your duties to look into this aspect, or to this component of occupational health and safety. So these components, when they work together, they will create a comprehensive occupational health and safety program that will promote or protects everyone at the work. It will reduce risk, it will promote a healthy environment and a safer environment for everyone. Then we went on to hazards control and measurements. So under hazards control and measurements, we look at the definition of a hazard, where we said a hazard is any condition or any event or situation that will have a potential to cause harm, or maybe to injure or to cause illnesses to people in the work environment. And also I emphasize on the aspect of, when you talk about occupational health and safety, don't just look at it just protecting the individual. Yes, we know to say individuals are the primary goal, but also look at also how this doesn't also harm or maybe injure any aspect or any component of the environment. And that will also include the property itself, or the premise itself where these activities are being done, because you don't want a too much vibrating machine that will cause the walls to to collapse. And once they collapse, meaning people gonna get injured. Then hazards, like I said, these can be physical, psychological, biological, or chemical in nature. So it's up to you how you identify and how you do your analysis and so on. So these are just some of the definitions according to different standards. So with the ISO 31000, it just defines it as a condition that poses a level of threat to life, health, or property. Whilst with occupational health, occupational safety health administration, it define it as unsafe conditions or situations that can cause injury or illness. So you need to know what what OSH mean, what ISO mean, what WHO mean, okay, because in your theory you might just find these terms. Then we looked at the characteristics of hazards. Okay, and we said a hazard can be inherent, meaning that we can have this hazard that will be an intrinsic, meaning that these hazards will exist as an intrinsic part of a situation or of a substance or of an object or of an event. You might never know to say, you might never see it because it is inside. An example given, it could be, for example, a common example could be something from our home and it explode. For example, plates on the stove, could be a machine itself. Okay, you might never know. So it is the important of the engineer to ensure that all those kind of hazards are listed in the manual book for just guidance purposes and for good procedures. Okay, it could be wires inside, so you might never know. So, and I mean, the hazard might be difficult to identify because it may be existing as an intrinsic part. Hazards can be acquired, so meaning that this can become as a result of human action. Concentration, were you stressed, were you upset, were you angry? Okay, could be, were you smoking, were you talking, always doing those practices. So you need to have workers that will concentrate on their practices, because these hazards can be acquired. Because of you talking, you end up making a mistake. Because of you getting drunk, you may end up causing an accident. Then these hazards may be latent, and in latent, meaning that these hazards may be dormant, may be hidden or dormant with the potential to become active. So the more maybe you run the machine, the more you hit machines. This is why you find that there are machines that have been designed to rest after certain hours, all right? Because the more you continue, then their hazard will become active. Then these hazards may be obviously clear and easily to be recognized, meaning that these hazards can be visible. You can see a wet floor, for example. You can see maybe cables on the floor, aspect of you stripping, and maybe having people fall in the workplace. So we don't want that to happen. So you have to ensure that all these aspects are nicely, thank you, are nicely maintained, and also you look into that. So be good at identifying these hazards. So this is where we ended our lesson, and today that's where we'll be continuing